Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are in a White House showdown, but winning the most votes may not be enough. And it all comes down to this map that's been flooding your newsfeed. Americans don't technically vote for a presidential candidate. They actually select a group of electors whose job it is to vote for the president on their behalf. And where those votes are cast could change everything. Now back to this map. Here we have 50 states. Each state gets its own share of electoral votes. There are 538 votes in total, and whoever reaches 270 is the winner. Now most states are pretty predictable. Blue states like California, New York and Massachusetts typically vote Democrat, while red states like Utah, Idaho and Wyoming have gone Republican for decades. These purple states are the ones to watch. These are called swing states, meaning they could go either way. Swing states ultimately decide the election, which is why it'll be breaking news when Pennsylvania and Michigan are called, but you'll barely hear about California or Oklahoma. So why not just have a popular vote? The Electoral College was set up in the late 1700s as a sort of compromise between a popular vote and a Congress vote. Most Americans live in densely populated cities, and the Electoral College ensures rural voices don't get drowned out. It's therefore favoured by Republicans because it gives their support base a bigger say. This means a candidate can become president even if they receive less votes, as we saw in 2016 when Donald Trump won despite Hillary Clinton receiving nearly 3 million more votes. Critics of the Electoral College argue it gives smaller states too much power, rather than reflect the country as a whole. Let's crunch the numbers on this. The state of California has 39 million residents and gets 55 electoral votes. Wyoming has 578,000 residents and gets 3 electoral votes. This means one vote in California represents 710,000 people, while one vote in Wyoming represents 192,000 people. In other words, in that race to 270, a vote in Wyoming is over 3 times more valuable than a vote in California. The Electoral College is also criticised for encouraging apathy. Remember, voting isn't compulsory in the US. Candidates always campaign the most in swing states, which can leave voters in other states feeling obsolete, which is the very thing the Electoral College was set up to avoid. But don't rule out curveballs. In the 2020 election, Georgia went blue for the first time in 30 years, and there's speculation about similar shifts this time around. Whether the Electoral College is democracy at work or an outdated loophole ultimately comes down to who you ask. But regardless, it helps explain why this is set to be one of the closest elections in history.